All right, sports fans, welcome to the current state of CM slot cars. There's the artificial grass. There's the two 4-foot tables. 1, 2. You see the split right there. There's the 9-foot table. Yes, those are my guitars sitting on top of it. And yeah, there's my Arc Pro bass. And you see all the plastic tubs. That is CM Hang Dong Raceway. There's my tool set. Now, what's going on? Why have I been here since July last year when I made the last video about the move? And why is all this shit still in buckets? Well, because I am a fat, lazy POS. And I bought a diner, which I mentioned, I think, on the channel. I know I did, because Sir Roland from Australia, the Duke of Australia, showed up at my diner, which I think I mentioned. Pretty cool when the YouTube world meets the regular world, the real world. So Roland and his wife, Nani, showed up at the diner. Roland, since the beginning, has been a big supporter of the channel and was very forthcoming with tips. He used to own a store in Australia. He was an exclusive Arden dealer, if you all remember that brand from back in the day. That's the track that he has set up here in San Patong, which is south of Hang Dong, south of Chiang Mai. He's got that figure 8 track set up with the little yellow borders, and he runs a lot of cars on his channel. Anyways, anywho, I did open up some boxes today and went through the box over there, the tub, and pulled out the GTE, which was I believe my fastest car on my old track, and the Lola. Sorry, Kinks. The Nighthawk, the MG Nighthawk. The reason these two cars are out of their box is I took a trip over to San Patong Raceway because it works, because it doesn't have rust, because it has a variable power control. So we were able to run some Revo slot cars, which I definitely would have detracked every 2 seconds because I'm just not a very good driver. But Roland was able to turn it down to about 6.5 volts, and those cars stuck like glue to the track, even without magnets or with small magnets. And we just had a blast. Even my girlfriend, who had never run a car before around the track, was having a blast. And at one point she had the fastest lap because she was just slow and steady, not pushing the car, like Roland and I were doing, trying to get the fastest time. She just slow and steady wins the race, the turtle, tortoise, and the hare. So I took these two cars, which I considered my fastest, best cars, even though they're stock scalextrics. They both have, above a normal scalextrics RPM motor. I think it's normal stock is 17,000 RPM, and these are like 21, I think. But anyway, it was very fun just to go put a car on the track, squeeze the trigger, and have it go around. I mean, that's what I've been missing from all my woes. So we're moving down to the beach, to a condo I own, and that's why all this stuff is still in boxes and not unpacked, because I'm going to be getting rid of it. I'm going to be selling it. Now, what I learned today by visiting Roland and San Patong Raceway is I still love the hobby. It's still fun to make cars go around the track. So I think what I'm going to be selling is my scenery, my Dunlop bridge and my control tower, my grandstand, the grass, if anybody wants it, to set up a track or a railroad, whatever, diorama, and maybe a couple of the cars. After running these two today and having a blast, and the GTE was faster of the two. I'm going to put a link to Roland's video. So number one, you can go check out his YouTube channel, And number two, you can watch these two cars running around on the track, and the GTE dusted the MG. It wasn't even close. What a difference a couple of years makes. And the GTE proved on Roland's track what it had on mine, that it's one of the smoother, quieter cars out there, including Roland's pretty extensive collection. Now, most of his collection is still in Australia. He has over 200 cars, but he does have quite a few here in Thailand too. And he agreed with me that this GTE is just a beautiful, smooth, quick car. And the Nighthawk, which I ran second, was not as grippy. And later on, Roland pointed out to me that there's some flat spots in the tires, even though it's a brand new car. It's what he called NOS, new old stock. So the guy had never run the car, but it sat for many years in a display case or something, So that caused the tires to be less than optimal. So the Nighthawk had traction problems. He wound up chewing the tires a little bit with some sandpaper, and it ran better. But still, there's on a good track where I could really push the cars, which is what I was always trying to do with the used scalextric track. The Nighthawk, the GTE 2, shined. It really, the having a good track with reliable power showed the difference to me between the two cars. And then the Nighthawk is still a beautiful, beautiful car. And it's Roland pointed out to me, it's a limited edition. You see they have this sticker here that sometimes came on a credit card looking thing. And you can see it's number 1116 out of 5,000. There's only 5,000 of these Nighthawks made. And absolutely gorgeous car, collector car. And again, it was fast and smooth until my buddy Jeffrey gave me the great birthday present of the GTE. That's just an amazing stock car. I would put that up against any other stock scalextric car, just for the way it runs. It grips the track really well. Stock tires. I do have somewhere in here, I have Paul gauge tires, which I will put on the GTE eventually. That was my whole idea, was to run it with the stock rubber tires and the stock magnets, then put on the Paul gauge tires and run it, then take out the magnets and run it, and kind of do a comparison of all three. Well, the thing about Roland's setup is he was able to save my lap times on his laptop. So the next time I see him, he's going back next month to Australia shortly. The next time I see him, I'll be able to run it again, that car, with the Paul gauge tires on that same track, and see the difference with the tires. So that would be cool. I had a brain fart, which if you watch my channel long enough, you realize I have lots of brain farts, and I didn't bring the Toyota and the Philly Flyer. If you remember, those two cars were always, so the magnets were so strong that they wouldn't run even with the 10 amps. So somewhere in here, that's the Dodge Charger. Somewhere in here, that's the Camaro from Australia. But somewhere in here, I have the Toyota and the Philly Flyer. Those both would not run on my track. I couldn't power my track enough to run. But with Roland, that's not a problem. He literally has this incredible variable power setup where he can dial in for the cars and make them fun and enjoyable to run. So anyway, before I ramble on for half an hour again, I will put the link in the description to watch after Roland puts it up on his channel. I'll put the link here on this channel. Definitely watch his channel. The guy knows what he's doing. He knows a lot about slot cars. He's got a great collection. And he's just like a super nice guy, too. Like I said, he was one of the bigger helpers and contributors in the comment section of my channel, especially in the early days. But the big thing I've come to realize after running these cars today and having a blast over his place is that I need to stay in the hobby. So now the only question is, how many cars am I going to keep in one of these boxes and bring down to the condo and just stash away until I move to a house again and have a spare room, which I'll never do this again. I know that. I don't need this. You know, he has a figure 8 track, and it's probably a 4 foot by 9 foot. It's a big track, the Arden track, but it's just fun to have a track that it just works. And the thing with the power, he told me he'd help me get that set up if I do it again. If I get another track going, he'd help me set up the power thing with the variable amp, which again just makes all the difference in the world. A nice new track with good, clean, tight connections. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to work. So that's my next goal. With the immediate action I'm taking is not going to sell a lot of the cars. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll keep all the cars, because once you get your track sorted out, the fun of it is running the different cars on it. So I'm definitely rethinking things after visiting his track today in San Patong. So thanks, Roland. Thanks for keeping me in the hobby, because I just had so much fun today, and my girlfriend had fun. And again, that's the first time she ever ran a scalextric car, a scale slot car on a track, and she had a blast. So the hobby's alive and well, but I'm definitely going to get rid of all my used scalextric track and the scenery. I don't need a control tower. I don't need a Dunlop bridge. Roland, you'll see his track is just on bare wood, but guess what? It works and it's fun. And that's really what it's all about. That's getting back to basics and keeping it simple. So CM slot cars out, and I'll let you know what happens moving forward as to what I'm keeping out of the 30 some plus cars I bought, mostly from Action Slot Racing in England.